Hello, I am Brenda Ringwood, and I am your host for the Becoming the Best You TV talk show. This isn't any ordinary TV talk show. It is a show about becoming the best version of yourself. The change is possible if you really want it. We share stories about ordinary people doing extraordinary things, sharing encouragement, hope, and perseverance of overcoming from people from all walks of life who are doing wonderful things. It is our hope that the things they have struggled to overcome will encourage you to step up and do the things that you want to do in life. To step out and be heard. Don't let your past stop you. Don't let fear and doubt and what others say get in the way of your happiness. Stay tuned as we share amazing stories in hopes that your dreams will unfold. And remember to always put your crown on. Wear that crown, because only you rule your kingdom. Hi, it's Brent, and we are doing another episode of Becoming the Best You, number BTBY. I'm here with Jennifer Lauren, and I'm just going to let her tell her story, actually.
My father raised me to be very strong and independent. And I say that because he didn't give any handouts, but also taught me to stand on my own feet and walk hard.
Oh, that's
through
good.
life, yeah.
Which is also a song, isn't it?
It sure is, yeah.
For those of you out there that don't know who she is a country and western artist. Her band is called Diamonds and Whiskey. Tell us where your love of music came from.
Oh, well, growing up without all the distractions, TV and radio and being out with friends and that sort of thing, leaves you a lot of time to learn to do other things. And we had a piano at home. My dad played, he only had one arm, but he played piano with his left hand very well. And he had a really good ear. I mean, he could sing the roof off a building. He was so talented. So I think I got that from him. And when I was 4, I remember just being able to reach the keys, and that's when I started playing.
Oh, wow.
But I had an ear for it. So when he would play, I could play things back. And when my older brothers took lessons, so he would come home and play Beethoven. And then as I got older, I could just play back whatever he was playing, which was frustrating, but they knew I definitely had an ear for it. But music was always, what I wanted to do. It's all I thought about growing up. And I began singing, in choir and that sort of thing in school. And then it turned into classical training for opera. And so that's kind of where my upbringing, started with music anyway. And then, later on, country came into play. But if you'd heard me sing, 10, 15 years ago, it wasn't like this. It was all enunciation and perfect. Yeah, that sort of thing.
I think you just do for yourself.
Right, yeah, absolutely.
Do what you love. So what kind of jobs have you had prior to doing what you're doing right now?
Well, I worked 3 jobs in high school, but they were, waited tables, worked at Belk's, did, the things that teenagers do. But I started appraising real estate, at a very young age, at 18, actually. Bought my first company when I was 23. And that's all I've done since, appraising.
So you've been an entrepreneur.
Yeah, pretty much. And I've worked for myself all these years and just tried to build a life that way. Also got into flipping houses and buying and selling real estate. That's, something else I absolutely love to do. And I've done that until now. And now I'm just kind of full-time music and throwing myself into it.
Yeah. So it's country and western. Tell us, what's the process like? Everybody thinks you just get on the stage and sing and you get all these fans and you have this glamorous life. Walk us through a day in your life.
Oh gosh, not a lot of sleep. I took a different approach than a lot of artists, and not that there's anything wrong with any other approach. I didn't really know what I was doing when I started this band. Had no clue. Had never played at a gig at a bar or at a festival, just knew I wanted to play music. And I had a port in my chest at the time, and I thought I would start playing music for therapy. And my son had a trach until he was 10. And when he got that out and got healthier, I thought I could focus on some things that I wanted to do, because I spent, my 20s taking care of a child and then being sick myself. So I thought, I'm going to play some covers. I put out a Craigslist ad, got a guitarist, and it started what is now Diamonds and Whiskey. At the time, I didn't know I could write music. So I just was playing some covers, and then the first song I wrote was Whiskey Down. I had a boyfriend at the time. He loved to drink. And I remember at 4 a.m., this song just pours out of me. I'm sitting on the floor, bawling my eyes out, and that's where the songwriting started. And then it was just like a flood. All my life stories came out, and then Heartbreak Queen was born, the first record. And so, yeah, that's kind of how I got into it. And it became therapy that way. And then I thought my songs could inspire other people.
Absolutely.
But then I realized that those people became therapy for me as well, connecting with them. But I just worked hard at my day job. I put money into marketing. I went days on end without sleep trying to figure out a different approach than going out and gigging every weekend at bars, because I'm a mom. I can't be out till 2 in the morning.
Which is kind of what happens in this industry. Yes,
exactly. And you'll go play the same circuit of bars over and over and over, trying to make $200-300. And I thought, what if I worked my day job really hard, put some money behind marketing, and then built something that was phenomenal, a good stage show, something that people wanted to see. So when we came out swinging. I played for free. I did whatever I had to do to get on festival stages, because I knew as soon as people saw us that they, Tony in particular, which we'll get to, as soon as they saw us, they would say, wow, that's a good show. What they don't know is I spent 18 months in a 10-by-10 storage building rehearsing for that before I ever hit the stage. And it was 3 times a week. I remember hanging my drip bag from the ceiling and standing there sweating my butt off, making sure that I played really well and every note was perfect, and that we, built a great show. So it was just a lot of work in that way. And then, juggling being a mom and
how many children?
I have 2.
And you've been a single mom.
I have. I was a single mom for a very long time. Since Dallas, my son was 18 months old. And so it was a good long 12 years of just 13 years actually of just me and him, and then Phoenix came along later. But yeah, and he was 1 pound when he was born, and spent a very long time in the NICU. It was just before his first birthday that he really got to come home. And he had already had 5 surgeries at that point, heart surgery, stomach surgery. He had brain hemorrhages, and they eventually trached him. So I bring this baby home, and I'm young, I'm 20 years old now. I've got a great career already, thank goodness. But bring him home, hooked to 5 machines and like a pack mule, coming home with this child that I don't know, I've never changed a trach, so.
Yeah, and first time mom.
Yeah.
It,
And that wasn't in my plans. I had 2 very small baby sisters that I took care of, so I was all like, and then Dallas happened as a surprise, and I'm so thankful because he changed my life. He taught me so much about responsibility and about love in general, because my childhood was full of so much love. Was a very hard thing for me to understand until Dallas was born. And then when he was, it was like, oh,
something said for mother's love.
Yeah, there is. Yeah, definitely is. I've never felt anything like that. And then everything was about him. And so, with a trach child, I don't, know if you guys know much about having a trach child, but they need 24 hours.
I've been through it with another relative, so yes.
They need 24-hour surveillance. You can't leave a trach baby. So, and I had to work. I was a single mom trying to pay all the bills. So I would have nursing staff that would come in for the day so I could work, but then I would sit by his bed all night. Yeah. And, you have the alarms and everything, you don't sleep. I mean, he could have farted and I would have woke up, it was one of those things like it just,
and you would have been there.
And it was, and so many rush trips to the hospital, surgery after surgery, the last surgery he had, they removed one of his floating ribs and harvested cartilage from that and built a new airway for him. I mean, it was the most intense thing ever, but he taught me so much about not complaining and being happy with everything in life. This kid went through more pain than y'all can imagine. And as a parent, watching your child suffer, to me, there's nothing worse than that. Right. I would, what is it Tony says? He says, I walk through hell with gasoline on my butt. Yeah, so rather than watch that. And so, yeah, he taught me a lot about life in general. And then as he got better, I got sicker. Lyme disease really took over my life. And I ended up in a wheelchair for a good little period, and blind and deaf on my right side, my liver, my heart failing. And they didn't know it was Lyme disease because it's not really prevalent in the South.
Right.
But I had been sick since I was about 12 years old and fighting that. And
so you didn't catch it right away.
Oh no, I had Rocky Mountain spotted fever over and over, and they thought it was MRSA or staph infections or that sort of thing. But finally, after 32 doctors,
that's a lot.
Yeah, it was a lot. I have been to so many different places to try to get help, and finally this doctor realized what it was, and he was from up north, and he said they'd seen a lot of Lyme disease, and you know, I thought, oh, I've got a diagnosis, I'm going to get better. And then
That's too far gone.
Yeah, that's not what happened. So, but yeah, I started intense IV therapy with antibiotics, and now I've had 6 PICC lines since then. And that's in the last 10 years. And so it's intense. It keeps coming back, you know, stress suppresses your immune system and causes a lot of issues. So then when you're trying to battle other things like cancer or anything else,
just stress.
It just makes it all difficult, you know. But I think because of watching my dad with one arm do everything that he did, and having a grandfather that was a World War II vet, he's very tough, you know, and incredibly bright. Getting to see these people growing up and see what they went through and persevere really taught me that you don't complain. My dad would tell me, it's like, there's no tears, I'm not crying, you know, it didn't matter what happened. And while that's not always the best way to look at things, because it is okay to cry. It took me until probably about 5 years ago to figure that out, because I spent
crying is a release.
Yeah, and now I cry all the time, you know. So you know,
you're battling illnesses. You battled a sick child. You battled being a single parent, struggling a divorced home yourself, and with growing up, right?
Yes.
So how would you tell our audience? What kind of advice would you give them on perseverance?
Oh my goodness. You know, I find myself saying that people should just keep on keeping on, pick yourself up by the bootstraps, but that is not easy. You know, and I think I make it look easy a lot, you know, because I don't like to really show what it's like behind closed doors. And so the older I get now, I've changed my way of talking about that, because before I'd be like, you can get through anything, you know, just hammer through it. Think about the things in life that mean something to you. Think about I always say this, think about the next beautiful moment. What's coming next? You know, when you're in pain, I'm like, or for me anyway, I try to focus on something else, you know, something else happening. Oh, this will pass. I always say that this too shall pass, this too shall pass. But the thing that I was not telling people, that I should have told people, and that I need to start doing, is that they should talk about it.
They should talk about it.
Perseverance is, it's easy for some of us. And I don't mean easy in the way that, you know, it's technically easy, it's not, but for some of us, we just get up and march on, and we don't even we don't even know, you know, we're doing it. And those are few and far between though. And my brother, who has been a struggling drug addict for years, he can't do it, you know, and I get so angry. I'm like, why can't you just do what I do? You know, and he said, well, you're so strong. And I'm thinking, well, anybody can be like this, anybody can do this. It's not like that. We're all different, and we all need to face whatever we're facing in our own way.
That's right.
And I think
it's okay to struggle.
It is.
It is okay.
It is okay. And I tend not to be, I used to be judgmental about it. I'll just go ahead and say it. I used to judge people. I'd be like, well, I got through this. Why can't you get through this?
I think we all have a touch of that.
Yeah, we do. We're like, just pick yourself up. But you know, we don't really know what mental strength other people have, and compassion is so important.
And where they're at in their life. They might be very strong, but some situations have really changed their mental capacity at that time.
Absolutely.
You know? There's sometimes I handle things really well, and other times it's a struggle.
It is. And I always want to put up this brave front, and I want people to think I'm fine. And then every once in a while, I'll just fall apart. You know, and it's okay to do that, but I'm always ashamed of it. It's just something that's not ingrained in me to be like, oh, let me lean on someone's shoulder. But I do, you know, and it's hard for me to admit, but that's okay. And I think I need to start telling people that. And the more I'm in the public, the more
people are watching you.
Exactly.
So it's important that they also are hearing that you are just like everybody else out there, and you struggle, and it's okay, and it's okay to talk about it. What when you're going through a show, when you've got to pack up and hit the road and drive and then prepare and then set up, talk to us about what that looks like and the mindset of that.
It's actually a lot. I think when you're younger, I will say age plays a big part in things. You know, obviously I'm not 20 years old, I'm 29, not kidding. No, so you know, as you get older, you lose some of your energy. obviously, but it's a lot of work no matter where you are in your life. And, you know, people be like, oh, you're getting paid a few $100 to go play a show. You should be excited. But what they don't realize is all the hours you put into rehearsing, all the gear you bought, the hours you spend loading it, because it's a lot. And then you got to drive the kid, you got to play your 3 hours or whatever.
And you are some of that labor.
Exactly. And I was for a very long time. When I started this band, I carried gear. I plugged things in. I know what I was doing, but I did the best I could, you know, and we figured it out, you know, and it was a lot. And sometimes we drive, I drove 26 hours straight to Sturgis, you know, and played. I was exhausted. I've driven all night to New Orleans, played 3 gigs in one day, whatever it took, you know, but people don't see that. They just see the person on stage and they're like, wow, I want to do that.
Right.
Yeah. And then a lot of people,
that's why a lot of people give up.
They do.
It's hard.
It is hard. And nothing to me worth having really is easy to get.
That's right. And if it's worth having, it's going to take time to get.
It is time and a lot of effort. And some people do get lucky. It's rare. They get a little, you know, luckier than others. But then other people that have to really walk through fire to get there, you can see that on them, I feel like.
Oh, yeah. How long have you been doing this?
Oh, gosh. In this band in particular, 5 years, I guess, which is, you know, an okay time. It's not a really long time, but it's a pretty good while. But I feel like I went very hard at it for 5 years. I didn't just wait for things to happen. I threw every single thing that I had into it, and I pushed and pushed and pushed until, you know, we got at least on bigger stages and doing bigger things. And I'm still pushing, you know, every day, riding my manager's butt, which I'm sure I drive him nuts. And then, you know, but good things happen, opportunities happen. And when you show up, which is something I tell people all the time, if you want something, show up, no matter what it is, show up, you know, even if it's not going to pay, but you think something might happen, even if it doesn't, just show up, because one day it'll pay off. And, you know, that's how we got the sponsor we have now. And, you know, it's kind of like you're in it and you're doing the work. And for me, it's easy for me because I look at where I'm going. I don't know exactly where it is, but I have a good idea. So I just focus on that, and all the steps to get there don't really matter to me. And recently someone told me this about me, because they're like, you're not like other people, you know, because I'll have musicians say, gosh, that's how you did that? That's a lot of work. They thought there was some like easy answer. No. There's no easy answer. It's hard work. And then they don't want to do it. But for me, I'm focusing on that goal all the time. It no matter what it is. Maybe it's a Grammy. Maybe it's, I don't know, just touring myself. I don't know what it is, but it's there, you know, but that's all I focus on. And how I get there is just like this weave and webs of whatever, you know, but I know I'm going there. You know,
that's good. You're claiming it.
Exactly. And when you do that, that's when good things start to happen.
A very good friend of mine, he does life coaching. He says you have to act as if you're already in possession of what you want.
Absolutely.
And it is a very true statement.
Well, you know, it's my favorite book in the Bible is James. And you know, I've read the Bible through many, many times because I grew up in a very religious household. So I have to give my testimony. And I used to get aggravated about that, but now I'm really grateful for it because I learned a lot. But, you know, there's a verse in there about asking God for something, but you have to ask without your faith wavering, you know. And I grew up, my papa would read that to me every weekend. I could stay with them. So like, you can have whatever you want. You have to believe in it wholeheartedly. You can never not believe in it, no matter what. You can get down. And he was such a good man. He would tell me, he said, you can get down. That's okay. He said, because that really defines you, because it's the getting up part that makes you who you are.
That's right.
And so, you know, I really took that to heart. And, you know, I was there when he passed away, and I'll never forget it. On his deathbed, and the last thing he said to me was, do what's right, no matter what it costs. And
you're remembering that.
I do. Everything I do in life, I try to make the right choice. I don't always make the right choice, but what feels good in my heart, that's what allows me to lay down at night. And it's not about money. It's not about anything else. It's about changing people's lives, helping people, and what makes me feel good, what feeds my soul. You know,
and that's why she's doing this interview, because she believes in helping people.
I do.
She's going to be speaking at one of the events that BTBY has coming up in St. Louis and playing, and she's doing a benefit for Patch Adams on that. But she also struggles not just with being a mom, a musician, a business owner, health problems. She struggles with the everyday things that the rest of us struggle with. You know, that mindset, this is really what I have to do today. This is what I want to do today. But you didn't hear her excuse anything. She says she gets up and she does it. So that is her advice to you, is to persevere. Don't, if you want it, go get it. And I have to ask about a certain sponsor of yours. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
So yeah, I try not to cry because I do all the time when I talk about this. But you know, when I was talking about playing festivals, I'm going to back up for just a minute. We had never played a festival stage before, and I had been begging for a spot. And finally got this 2 o'clock in the afternoon spot at a very big festival in Maggie Valley. And I was as nervous as I could be. We were playing for free, so I was just happy to be there. And I played this show and we killed it. You know, it was people were blown away. There happened to be this guy there in the crowd. And it wasn't long after that, I got a message on Facebook, which I saved them all, by the way, because they still inspire me to this day. That, you know, he had been watching my story and saw our show and thought that we were amazing and basically keep on keeping on. Said that one day he'd have something big happening and asked if maybe we come play at a grand opening. And I was like, sure, you know, great, you know, awesome. Well, then about 6 months later, I got another message from that person. Same thing, very inspiring. He'd watched that, had a surgery and wanted to just encourage me. And it was the nicest message. I'll never forget it because I sat there and bawled. And he was like,
it's okay to cry.
Yeah. And then, you know, I think it was about a year after that, that I got another message and said, I think something big's happening, you know, and would you like to meet? And I'll talk about maybe helping your band. And that person was Tony Pruitt. And it changed my life, really did. And we went from, God, I'm trying to cry. See?
She's very appreciative. It's okay. It's okay to cry.
Yeah, I just said that tonight. Yeah, but when you know, work your butt off for something, and then any little thing that happens is huge.
Yes.
But when something big happens, like someone puts you in a brand new custom built bus and they take care of you and they believe in you, not just like believe in you, but really believe in you, because that's really believing in somebody. That's special.
It is special.
Yeah.
And there's not too many people like that out there anymore. So do you tour with your children? Tell me how that works a little bit.
Yeah, actually, Phoenix is 3. She goes with us everywhere pretty much. And so Dark Moon, you know, as you know, it's a sponsor. And they had this trundle bed built for her under my bed in the bus. So it like rolls out and Phoenix has her own, you know, Minnie Mouse bed and everything. And yeah, so she gets to go with me and be part of it. And she's part of the show. She gets on stage and sings a song. Not only do I get to be a musician, but I get to be a mom. And, you know,
and you get to do it together.
Exactly. And it's just so much. I feel so blessed. I get up every day and pinch myself. I'm like, this is my life, really? Because so much happened, you know, and right before Tony came along and Dark Moon, you know, so many bad things had happened. You know, I mean, right. And I've had a lot of bad in my life. There's a lot that I've skipped over for reasons, but in those 2 years, the last 2.5 years, before this past 6 months, I been through thyroid cancer, lymphoma, a divorce, 3 car accidents, one that left me unable to walk really for 18 months. I had boot crutches, you know, surgery. It was rough. Plus I had 2 different PICC lines in, you know, and I was just going through hell, you know, and then I felt like God was like, here you go, you know, and every day I'm like, oh, this is my life. I mean, I'm coming to Nashville all the time. I'm working with this amazing, you know, group of people. And yeah, sometimes God just puts people in your life, I think, at the right time. No, he doesn't. And instead of though, and I think people like Tony, people like me, because I think we're very similar people. We don't ask for handouts. We don't, you know, we don't go looking for anything. I said that in this band. I just march, and I hope that someone sees it and they want to be a part of it. But if they don't, I'm going to do it anyway. I've never just shown up and been like, oh, can you help me? That's not going to happen. You know, when someone approaches you and they say, oh, I want to sponsor you, a lot of musicians think, oh, can I have money right now? Okay, I can have this.
And it also doesn't work that way.
No, it does not. You have to say, what can I do for you? And I think this is where people mess up. And if I can talk about that for one moment, is that, you know, people go into something seeing what they can get out of it instead of going in and saying, what can I do for that person? So when we get a sponsor like Dark Moon, it makes me want to work harder. I don't just like, sit down and say, "Oh, I'm taken care of now."
You want to be successful for everybody.
No, now I'm like, oh gosh, we have to get
Yeah.
gigs. I gotta, yeah, like, I'm like, I gotta do this. I gotta prove myself. Like, it's not, me saying, oh, can I have more? No, no, I gotta earn this, and, I think if.
See, no handout. She's
No.
saying she earns what she's got, and that's huge because it makes a big difference on your viewpoint of success, your viewpoint of family, your sponsorships, just your audience, your fans, everybody. It's important that they know that you are earning it, not just for yourself, but also for them. It's not just a given.
Yeah, and you want them to know, that you're working hard and very appreciative. Being gracious is so important. Being thankful. I tell my kids all the time, it doesn't matter what it is. Someone holds the door for you, thank them.
Right.
And you thank every single person, because not only, is it the right thing to do, but you're also teaching other people to be that
People
way.
are watching.
Yes, be grateful for every little thing in life, because you don't know when it's going to be taken away.
So what's your favorite song that you sing?
Favorite song that I sing, or an original song?
Or whatever is your song, because I'm gonna make you sing it in a minute, just a little piece of it.
Oh gosh, oh,
Just a little word.
I hear you, and put me on the spot. Gosh, my favorite song that I say, okay, we always talk about what my favorite songs are. I love them all so much because they're also a big part of me. I would say right now, probably Rainy Days. I really love that song. It's a very simple
What's
song.
the story behind it?
Well, I wrote this song going down the road, and it was just kind of a fluke. Wrote it in a couple of minutes, but it came to me because it's just about my climb and my band, not just mine, but my band.
And they do it with you.
They do. My boys I call them my boys because they're like brothers or youngins to me. I don't want to do it without them. Absolutely love them. I never set out to be a solo artist. I wanted to be in a band because I like camaraderie. I like building people up. Rainy Days is just a song about the pains in life that we go through, but how you have to just keep going. And there are going to be things that try to tear you down. Other people. Misery loves company.
Boy, and jealousy is horrible.
Jealousy is a horrible thing, and misery loves company. And so people will try to tear you down. They'll try to bring you back down to wherever they are. And a lot of that. There have been tons of doors slammed in my face. And if I got down every time somebody said I couldn't do this, I wouldn't be here. I have a lot of artists say that to me. Oh, well, this happened, so I just gave up. Well,
it wasn't meant to be for them.
It wasn't,
because they gave up.
Yeah,
that's right.
Exactly. Sometimes I think people just test us in this business. They say no just to see what you're gonna do. I feel that way.
They want to see how strong you are.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks or says or does. You do you.
Yeah.
You have to sing a little bit. Sing us just a blurb of that song.
Oh gosh. Okay. On my way to the top, I've been told there's mountains I can't climb, but there's fire in my heart, the road to glory on my mind. Rain your rivers down upon this ground, I resolve and make my way. 'Cause Mama told me there'd be clouds and storms, lots of rainy days.
Oh, it's beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
It's simple, but I like it. Yeah.
Simple sometimes is the best. We make things complicated.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think a nice simple hook in a song is a really good thing. People can latch on to that.
Yeah.
And every time, we play a lot of originals at our shows. A lot of bands don't do that, but we have tons of original music because I write like crazy. But I find that people really connect to the songs. And
it's wonderful.
Yeah.
Our viewers, our audience, our followers is always looking for ways to better themselves. And they like to hear the stories of people that are just like them, that have overcome and went after their dreams, and that it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
And, the day that we stop dreaming was the day that we stopped living.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Because we're now living for somebody else instead of ourselves.
Right.
So we like to send that encouragement out there that if you want it, you can do it. The only one stopping you is yourself. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Jennifer. And I just can't wait to see all the good things that you have in store.
Oh, thank you for having me. I really enjoyed this. I'm sorry for all the tears.
It's okay.
I appreciate you. This was fun.
Yeah.